I'm Bill Jeffrey, and I'm going to talk to Adrian Huston, tax consultant, about the tax prosecution of a married couple who ran a builder's merchants and invested in the Isle of Man. Adrian, the case of Mr and Mrs Small, it hit the headlines recently. Why?
It hit the headlines because this was possibly the biggest tax investigation ever in the history of Northern Ireland. These people owed millions to the revenue, and they had accumulated a substantial sum, £2 million in the Isle of Man, plus a portfolio of over 20 properties in Northern Ireland, and a very large sum in a safe in the house, all of which was undeclared takings of their business. So the case involved VAT fraud because the VAT wasn't being paid over, tax fraud because they were under-declaring their profits, and even tax credits fraud because these people claimed tax credits as if they were in need of money despite having such a fortune stashed away.
How long have they been defrauding the tax authorities?
I think for quite a long time, because the money that was in the Isle of Man, by their own statements, was there for 20 or more years, untouched, just gathering interest. So they had originally put that over there, but the Inland Revenue or the HM Revenue and Customs doesn't go back more than 20 years. So the revenue case in this case spanned from November 1988 to 2004.
How on earth were they caught?
Well, that's an interesting case, an interesting question. They were caught for the simplest of all reasons. Something brought them to the attention of the Revenue and Customs, and their means to fund their lifestyle was out of kilter with their lifestyle. In other words, they were declaring modest profits and they're living a very lavish lifestyle in terms of the things that could be seen around and about them. And that's always a recipe for tax investigation. If your spending is out of kilter with your ability to spend, where does the money come from? And the revenue always assumes that it's hot money, it's untaxed income.
Did they admit everything when Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs came to the front door?
Sadly, they didn't. These people, the Revenue took this sufficiently seriously that these people were actually arrested in 2005, which is in itself quite unusual, and the premises were searched. But they didn't admit everything initially, because the Revenue had to use a lot of powers to try and find the money. They believed that these people were finding cash, but they couldn't expect so much cash going through the builders' merchants. They actually discovered that these people were cashing cheques at some particular bank, and the cheque never appeared in the bank statement. And the way they found that was they actually issued legal orders called production orders to the people's customers, obtained details of the returned cheques, and then compared that with the bank lodgements. And therefore they said, well, there's a cheque that went through a bank on the 1st of April, wasn't lodged to your bank account, therefore this is some cash that you have taken and salted away. So there was a big investigation for the Revenue, and they should be very glad of the result they finally achieved.
Was Mr and Mrs Small's house searched?
Yes, it was. It was searched, and quite a lot of stuff found. A lot of photographs were taken by the Revenue, and indeed in searching the premises, the Revenue searched what they refer to as these people's spare bungalow. And in the bungalow, under a plant pot, they found a floor safe. And having initially said that the key was lost and it was empty, in the end the Revenue forced the lock of the safe, and they found £420,000 in cash in the safe.
What's the lesson for other people with offshore money, please?
The lesson is that it really isn't worth the sleepless nights of continuing to fiddle your taxes. These people, even after they had this money offshore in the Isle of Man, they continued to do lots of stuff with undeclared cash. They started to build houses in Northern Ireland, they started to put it under the floor in the safe, they bought lots of antiques and jewellery and things like that. And these are all the sort of things that contributed to their downfall. And the lesson for anyone who has money offshore and hasn't paid the right tax is that they should come clean to the revenue and get it tidied up so that they can then enjoy what they've got left of the money. Because the money that sits in the Isle of Man at the moment, most people are terrified to touch it. So if you confess to the revenue, hand over their whack, at least what's left, you can enjoy it, you can bequeath it to your children, you can gift it to a charity, whatever you want to do.
Adrian Huston, thank you very much.